Well, hello again everyone, and welcome back to the van on this rainy September afternoon. But autumn is a great month to be out and about because you can gather up things like blackberries and cooking apples to make a nice pie. So the first thing to do is to gather together your ingredients, and the first thing you'll need is some pastry. And some folks will say, well, surely it's cheating to use pre-made pastry, you could make your own pastry. Well, nobody's got time for that sort of rubbish, have they? For goodness sake, just buy it from the shop ready-made, save yourself some grief, but get it out of the fridge good and early before you make your pie, otherwise it'll be difficult to work with, and nobody likes difficult to work with pastry. Next thing you'll need is a lovely pair of cooking apples. Now you can find often cooking apples growing in people's gardens and orchards and things, and they don't even gather them up. So go and grab them yourself, but make sure you ask the landowner's permission before going and grabbing the apples. Also good, have some nice blackberries. And blackberries you can gather up almost anywhere this time of year. Now you never need to go too far, of course, to find blackberries, and this year has not been too bad for them. One tip with blackberries is that the ones on the end of the shoots tend to be a bit sweeter than the ones that grow further back. Also usually avoid picking the ones really low down in case a big dog has come and weed on them. But this area here is a nature reserve where dogs aren't allowed, so it'll only be wild animal wee on these ones, which as you all know is much tastier. Another good tip to remember when you're gathering your blackberries is to make sure you do it before the end of September, because any blackberries that remain on the bushes after then belong to the devil. Another good tip is to make sure that whatever you're collecting your blackberries in has a lid, because brambles are bastards and they know what you're up to, and as soon as you try and move between bushes they'll throw out their little tendrils and ensnare your leg to make you trip over and spill all your previously gathered berries. So a lid is definitely a good thing when moving between plants. Well, there we go. I think there's about enough there for my purposes. Didn't take me long to gather them up. I don't really want to take more than I need, and there's usually plenty, so you can afford to be pretty selective. You don't want any manky, festering, rotten ones, and you don't want any that are still red and not ripe either. That's just more trouble than it's worth. You'd be cooking them up, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. But check for creepy crawlies, bugs and odd-me-dods as well, because you don't want to be munching on them when you're eating your pie. You should also by this stage have picked up a few war wounds, a few cuts and scrapes. If you haven't, you're not really putting the effort in. Bit of butter will also come in handy, and of course you need plenty of sugar. First step is to peel your apples. Right, now I'm going to cut those bits up into reasonably fine slices. Right, next thing I'm going to do is grease me tin with a little bit of me butter. Right, now I'm just going to cut round me pie dish thing with me knife. I'm going to get it a bit generous round some of the edges because, you know, it's got to go up the sides, isn't it? But we can't afford to be too generous because they're a bit mean about how much pastry they give you in these packs. Not really enough for the full pieage. So to help things along, I am going to try it and roll it out, just get it a little bit bigger. That'll probably do, won't it? And just whack it in your tin. And get it somewhere about right, I suppose. You really want this overlap, don't you? Possibly can. Bit off there, look. Hang it on there where it's a bit sparse. Right, now you can whack in your fruit with some sugar as well. Don't really matter much how you do it. I'm going to try and lay it out quite economically because I've got quite a bit to get in. Whack some sugar in as you go. No need to measure it really, just whack some in. Don't forget the blackberries. Really get it all in, haven't I? Think it'll be okay. Right, now we've got to try and get enough for the lid. Now, probably haven't got enough left in this packet to cut it straight out of. So I'm going to have to roll it up and roll it out again to try and get a lid sized bit, I think. Probably easier to do it on the back of this board with the grease-proof paper. Would have been easier, no doubt, with some flour on the rolling pin, but I haven't got any in the van. Always fold this over, I suppose. That might work, mightn't it? Now remember, I am not a trained or qualified chef. If you have any doubts about working on your own apple pie, you should really contact some trained kitchen staff. Still needs to be a bit bigger, doesn't it? Right, let's try this, shall we? Alright, it's not ideal, but it'll do, I think. Bit of a step away from perfect. Use a fork to press down the edges a bit. Right, now I'm just going to mix up some sugar and water in the cup just to make a bit of a glaze to put over the top. Just as much sugar as you can dissolved in a little tiny bit of water. it's time to light the oven and put it in. So I'm cooking this for a while on a middling setting. Right, that's been in for quite a while now, and there's an absolutely lovely smell filling the van. Let's have a look and see how it's getting on. Yeah, I don't think it's going to win any beauty contest, is it? Really could have done with a bit more pastry to put on the top. That's a bit thin, isn't it? And the fruit has broken through. Never mind though, that just makes it a sort of semi-tart. Right, I reckon it's about done. So let's get it out of the oven. Oh. Well, there you go. I reckon that actually looks pretty good. I'm looking forward to having some of that later. Well, it's some time later and I've had my dinner and the pie has cooled down a bit. So it's time to cut a slice and give it a try. Got to have some cream with apple pie, haven't you? That is absolutely lovely. Happy September, everybody. Well, that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Give the like button a press. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more.